Yo guys, welcome back to the Penalties Podcast, the podcast where we talk about all things football. I'm your host, Dia,
I'm Arnav. I'm Mustafa.
And I'm Ahmed.
and this is the Penalties Podcast. For this week's episode, as we have international break and do not have Premier League games on, we're going to be talking about other things in the football world. For example, we're going to be talking about the AFCON, which is approaching its semi-finals. We'll talk about our thoughts on that, our predictions on that, players that stand out, and so on. We will also be doing a tier list at the latter half of the episode, and we'll be talking about more Premier League surrounding players. So first off, let's talk about AFCON. So we have the semi-finals coming to us. Before we get into the segment, what are the teams you support?
So I'm Egyptian, so of course I support Egypt.
My great grandmother is Egyptian, so I'm supporting Egypt.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't have any family links to Morocco, but that's the team I will support.
Morocco?
Morocco, yeah.
Okay.
Knocked out.
And my reasoning is I use them for my academic work, so I'm gonna go with Burkina Faso, which actually have been doing tremendously well. Anyways, let's start off with the African in the room. Let's start off with the Egyptian.
Okay, so we played Morocco. Last game we played, it was a heated game, to be honest. It's always these three countries, Tunisia, Egypt and Morocco. Every time we play against them, it's just heated. It's always the hardest game we play. Against any team, it's okay, but when it comes to these two teams, it's just always on fire. We did give a penalty to Morocco in the first 5 minutes, which I think was pretty stupid from us. Luckily, we didn't get any yellow card from that penalty. But then we saw that Egypt didn't stop. They kept on putting pressure on Morocco, kept on shooting on target. Their goalkeeper, well done to him. Amazing work. We should have been man of the match for Morocco. Best player there. And the future for Morocco is going to be pretty huge. They have some good players coming. Next year is going to be even better. What else?
Your next game?
Next game, Cameroon.
Yeah.
Cameroon's pretty hard, to be honest. Like, we've always either won or lose. It's never easy to say who will win. With our two main goalkeepers injured, it's gonna be pretty hard. With our defense, one player just got injured in the last game. It's gonna be pretty hard, but I think we got this.
Okay.
Cameroon have home advantage as well.
They do, yeah.
Oh, okay. Who are the teams that you think will ultimately win this tournament?
I mean, it's quite hard to say, you know. I mean, Egypt, obviously, looking at how they played against Morocco, you would say they're a really strong team. Cameroon, really strong team. Senegal, obviously, Mane being with them and kind of performing. They're also strong. And I mean, not to forget Burkina Faso. I mean, not many people would know about them. Why you would kind of write them off, but obviously they just beat Tunisia, right? Which is, I mean, it's pretty hard to call by. If I had to say, I think it'd be between Senegal or Cameroon.
Okay.
I mean, for me, it's I'm sure I'd like no disrespect to Burkina Faso, but I think for me, Senegal are definitely going to be in the final. So for me, it's between who's going to play them in the final between Egypt and Cameroon. And to be completely honest with the way Egypt played in the last game against Morocco, after they went 1-0 down, I thought this game going to end 1-0. But then they kept pushing the fight. It impressed me, especially Salah's performance was world class as well. So I don't know. I mean, I think the home advantage will play a big part in the semi-final. But I don't know. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'll support my team. I'll go Egypt to win.
Okay. To tie in Premier League with this, we know there are quite some players from the Premier League in AFCON. Salah, we have Mane, they're gonna play semi-finals. Do you see like a disparity between their skill level from these, star players and then the rest of the team? Do they gel well? Do you see like a superiority complex between them and other players?
Well, you could see the difference of how they play in Liverpool and then at the team. It's pretty hard for them to get them chemistry in just a few weeks, you know. While them in Liverpool, they've been training, playing games all together, so they know how it works. But when it comes to Egypt national team, they don't play as much. Some players were even injured before the games, and they just didn't have time to train with them, didn't know how it would work out. You could see that game against Egypt against Nigeria where it just didn't work out, where the team was just falling apart. And then later on you could see against Sudan, against Morocco, these two, you could see them improve every time. You could see them get their chemistry up, passing, dribbling, all this. You can see them connect. Like, between Liverpool and Salah playing in Egypt, yeah, it's a huge difference playing with world's amazing team. Like there is a difference, but at the same time, so it doesn't mean Salah is a one-man team. Egypt is still helping him to score, even, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there isn't a bit of, obviously, when you play in one of the best leagues in the world, you play in the Premier League or even the French league, I'm kind of hinting at Hakimi here, you're coming into your national teams and everyone in the camp, the managers, your teammates are looking at you being the one that's going to carry us forward. You know, I think in Morocco, you probably look at Hakimi and the goalkeeper playing in one of the top clubs, you know, PSG and Sevilla. You're playing in really good leagues. You know, you look at Egypt, you're looking at Salah playing for Liverpool. Senegal, you're looking at Mane. You know, Ghana kind of looked at Partey, but again, it's Arsenal, so not really one of the best clubs. But the expectation is that you're going to be there for them, you're going to carry them when it gets tough. But, I've been pretty impressed by some of the lads that aren't playing in one of the top leagues. You know, they're like the Egyptian goalkeepers, or maybe how the Moroccan forwards, Nigeria as a team. You know, you have players who don't play for top class clubs, but they have been performing consistently. So, I don't think there is that much of a difference on the pitch. There's just a bit of difference in terms of expectations, what people expect from them.
I would disagree with that, to be honest. I feel like when you're watching the games, you could, like, if you didn't know any players, you would be. If I told you there's a Premier League player in this team, you would be able to pick that out. They show the quality on the pitch. It's not disrespect to the other players. They're obviously playing very well and stuff. But I feel like when it comes to players that are playing in PSG, Sevilla, Arsenal, Liverpool, all these players, they shine more in the competition just because as Ahmed said, they look to the player. They ask Arnold as well. They look to them as the main man, because Salah's won a Champions League, Mane's won a Champions League.
If I give you the Moroccan team and you knew nothing, would you be able to tell the Premier League player from that?
Well, who's a Premier League player from that?
The defender. He plays for Wolves. So
Roman says, yeah.
Okay. I'm not watching my point.
Yeah, I told you says, yeah, but I'm saying we're talking about the top leagues, right?
The Premier League. It's
in Marcus' team, they have the French league, they have the Spanish league, they have this.
The discussion again coming on to, if when you play for one of the top leagues, is there that much of a difference in your playing to others?
Yeah,
I don't think there is that much. Like you right now, I'm not trying to pinpoint at you, but for example, the Wolves defender, he is a good defender when you look at him play for Wolves. But in the Moroccan team against Egypt, there wasn't that much of a difference comparing him to him and maybe the next centre back next to him. You know, so I think there's this expectation. Again, I'm not going to mention Salah into this because again, he's on a whole different scale altogether. But even if you look at Egypt, I think it was against Ivory Coast they played. The expectation was that give him the ball, he's going to do something.
That is true.
It's not that you can see that much of a difference. Maybe you can be one of these top players, but for me, it's the expectation we put onto them that because you play in the top leagues, you can do something that's big. You know, the entire Egypt game against Ivory Coast, you passed it to Salah and you didn't provide him any support. You know, I just think it's the expectation we put onto them.
There is a difference in expectation, but I don't know, I feel like the players, the Premier League players, the Premier League, the French league, all these players, they shine more during these competitions when they're playing against lesser teams.
But you can see from the AFCON that even the players that aren't in top leagues, you could see them work. You could see that they have a future with, there's this player that no one knew from Egypt. Suddenly, our coach who worked with Sir Alex and then went to Real Madrid, he brought the player out of nowhere and then he put him on the team, and you could see him actually work with Salah, actually help him. And you could see the difference, even though like you couldn't see him in any of the lineups before. They're bringing in like players that could actually help and get good transfers into a good team or go somewhere big.
Okay, I see that. In brief, how would you say your experiences with the AFCON, like watching it? Is it enjoyable? Have you learned something from it that is different from like your top class, I guess?
You see, for me, it's just getting heart attacks after one. It's scary for me.
Yeah.
My bad, go.
Let's say continue.
For me, against Morocco, it was the most stressful game ever. I've learned way too many things from AFCON. Like, believing in the team, believing what they can do after is just something big.
I must admit, at the start of the competition, I didn't really like care as much about it, but I feel like the deeper it's gone into the competition, the more interested I've become, and the more I'm enjoying watching these games. Like, for example, that Morocco game against Egypt, like obviously I'm supporting Egypt, but it's not really, it doesn't affect me as much. So I was actually like able to enjoy the game, going 1-0 down, fighting, and 30 fouls and 18 fouls. It's very entertaining. And then the extra time goal from Trezeguet. It's just like these moments that the competition, like it's becoming more entertaining, which I'm loving it, to be honest. Now I can't wait for the semi-finals.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, watching the AFCON, even though I am neutral, I have been supporting Morocco. It was heartbreaking for me losing to Egypt. I kind of felt that hurt. But I mean, just in general, watching these competitions, the beauty about them is just people focus on AFCON. You're looking at African football. They get promoted. Some of the players, like you talk about the Egypt player that your manager put forward, they normally wouldn't come to light if it wasn't for tournaments like AFCON there and people watching and seeing that, okay, here's a player that's done it on the international stage, because club football really doesn't allow you that chance to go for it. So I mean, I think it's been a brilliant tournament.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to see how it develops. And when's the final again? When is it?
Come on, Ahmed.
I don't know where the final is.
I'm
I'm just concentrating on Cameroon right now.
Okay, well, we'll see how that turns out. It'll be interesting to see who wins. Okay, for our next segment of the podcast episode, we're going to be having a tier list. So these guys don't know what the tier list is of, so we're going to go right into it. So the tier list is about Premier League strikers 2021 to 2022.
What, this season only, yeah?
Yeah, just this season. So the rankings are top tier, elite, very good, decent, or average. Okay? Because all of them are, they're playing in Premier League, right? Okay, to start off, you already said you saw this player, Chris Wood.
Chris? Oh no. He's average. He's not. Last season he had the second half of the season was good, but he's not a 25 million player.
He's not consistent.
Newcastle have been, like, in my opinion, they've been fully scammed here. Like, Burnley have sold him and then bought a striker for less money who was way better than him, way better than what's his name, Chris Wood. I don't know. I mean, he does. I mean, he could do a job, but actually, no. I'll say decent. I wouldn't say average, but he's okay.
I mean, Chris Wood, honestly, I mean, I get what you guys say about him, but for me, he's a typical Premier League striker. I look at him and he's that striker which I think, I'm going to go back to what my favourite manager said, Ole, yeah? He went and said this, I want a striker who will break their nose going in for a header. And I look at him and I'm like, he's the guy who will give everything to go for the ball. Yeah, that might not translate into him scoring goals, but if a team wants to sign a Premier League striker, you look at Chris Wood, and I think that's exactly what.
Why would you look at Chris Wood?
But you're looking at a Premier League striker that's affordable in your range, right? He is one of those players. Like when he's coming from a team of Burnley, yeah, I have massive respect for those teams because of the pressure they go through a season. That kind of makes you as a player going through that entire season with the whole relegation in your mind. And I mean, Chris Wood has performed for Burnley in certain instances. He has gotten them out of holes. But I mean, if you're looking at an affordable, cheap striker, I think Chris Wood is one you would look at. I mean, everyone knows he's dangerous in the box. He's a tall lad. He can go score headers. He can be dangerous.
So where are you gonna rank him?
I might be decent.
Decent? What do you say?
I'm a
Decent?
Average?
Average?
I changed
I
it.
He did change
I
that.
think
I
I think
still-
there's
I still-
strikers that are average and worse than Chris Wood for me.
So, the consensus is.
I'd say
I say we both must
I'd
say
say
I'm
decent.
decent, so
I say decent.
Average.
Let's put him in decent majority.
majority was.
Majority.
Next up, we have Calvert-Lewin.
That's a very interesting one. I mean, he's been linked with a move to Arsenal in the summer. I mean, he's a very good player, but I feel for me he misses way too many chances in my opinion. He's a good striker. He's good in the area. Obviously, we've seen him jump very high, which is and then his shots outside the box, inside the box, he's always a threat. I mean, I'm not sure if he has the ability to become, for example, England's #1 striker or fight for this first spot for the World Cup. But I'll go. What was the tier above decent?
Very good.
I'll put him in very
Yeah,
good.
I'd go very good.
Very good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's
Very
put
good
Benteke
choice.
in very good. Next up, we have Cavani.
Elite.
My guy.
Elite. He's elite. I mean,
Top class. to be honest.
he's. I mean, I'm not putting him top tier because I think he hasn't
Yeah,
played
no.
enough games. He hasn't done a lot. But I mean,
But you can see the effort he's
He's
putting
an
every
elite,
time he
yeah,
goes
he's an
into
elite
the
striker.
pitch.
So, what are we saying?
I'm saying elite.
I don't know. For me, I mean, I love him, but I think he's the type of player you want to sub on, not start. So I don't know. For me, I don't
He's
know.
kind
I
of
just-
all in, yeah.
like for example, this season he hasn't we subbed him against Newcastle. He saved us a point, but then we started him the next game. I don't remember who it was, but I remember he did absolutely nothing the entire game. Then the next game he comes off the bench and then he scores a goal or got an assist against West Ham. And then I don't know if I'll put him in. I think he's better than Calvert-Lewin, so I'm gonna put him on the tier above Calvert-Lewin.
Which is
Which is
elite.
elite.
Oh, that's all I said. I didn't want to put him there. I said.
Okay, next up, we have Benteke.
Oh,
See, that's my average play right there.
I mean, there's something less than average that's need to see more.
Need to see more.
No, but we've seen it.
That's where you put
You've
Lukaku.
seen enough?
That's where you put Lukaku. So I'm not going to discuss that one.
Yeah,
That's where
that's true,
Lukaku
that's
is.
true.
I put Benteke as average.
His definition of average is.
He's average.
Alright. Well, is this guy not average? Ronaldo? Is he?
There's only one answer. Really.
Okay.
Look, he's a good player. I don't.
Oh.
Yo,
Let's
wait.
think of-
There's no
wait,
top
I-
four
I-
here.
I-
What?
I'm gonna guess right now. You're gonna say elite. You're not gonna say.
Look,
You know what? I'm gonna
We're
surprise you.
talking-
I'm
we're
gonna
ta-
surprise
we're talking
you.
about
My
this-
first choice is elite.
This
What's wrong with you
season,
guys?
we're talking about this season.
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
not-
this season, how many
This
times has he
season.
saved Man United? How many times has he been the only player in the pitch that is trying his best with the Khe, obviously, the Khe, but he's a world-class player.
He
I don't know
is.
how you even have this conversation.
I
He's
know.
the greatest player that has ever touched the football.
I mean, hold on. What are your thoughts on him? You're a United fan. Where do
Okay.
you put Ronaldo? I'm trying to look at his goal stats, yeah, because I'm
He's the greatest striker
Ronaldo
in the world.
Ronaldo.
is top tier.
He is top tier. It's not even a conversation. I don't know how we're having this.
But-
Why? No.
But-
No. Ronaldo
Wait,
is one of the world's best players.
yeah.
But this is purely on this season. we're
This-
going
Just
on.
this season.
Just this
That's
season.
this
if we're
season.
going-
There
he's
have
not
been
top
players,
tier.
but just this season.
Yeah, if we're going just this season, he isn't the best player.
Yeah, because we don't create chances for him. It's
But
not
that's the team's
that's the
fault.
problem.
Yeah, okay, but whenever he gets a chance, how many times has he taken us out of jail? How many times has he saved us?
I'ma just say, there's times when you get angry on our group for Ronaldo missing easy
Yeah,
chances.
no, but that's just me being in the heat of the moment. That's not the-
Okay, wait. Majority. What do you say?
Elite.
Top tier.
Elite.
Top tier. Top tier.
Elite, and I put it
Look,
below
he's
Cavani.
overall.
So you guys think he's as good as Cavani? Is that what you're saying? Is that what
Okay.
Again,
above.
Look.
No, hold
Same
on.
level as
Elite,
Cavani.
elite is just the level. Obviously, we can now order players in the elite level, and you'd put him right up there in the first.
That's the. No, I'm not having that. He's the greatest player to ever touch a football.
Okay, next one.
We're not saying
We're
he's
talking
not.
about this season.
He's been world class this season.
No.
Okay, we'll see. Next up we have Antonio.
Ooh.
Do you want to go?
No. Between last
Antonio. He had this good run of form. You know, I think
Start of the year, yeah.
there was a start of the year where like West Ham were on fire. You know, going back to their last season form, Antonio, one of the players. I think it was Antonio. You had Bowen also firing, and I think he's still firing. You know, I must say,
He's not been good in the past couple of weeks.
Well,
he started off the
well,
season
why?
very
We're
well,
going-
but he's been.
we're going solely on the season, and how many times he saved my fantasy team, yeah. So for
So what do
purely,
you say?
purely for my fantasy team, I'm going elite, yeah. But I'd put him below Ronaldo and Cavani. I'd put him towards
Okay.
the top.
What the disrespect? This is
Where's the
to put
Who you put
Antonio
him
on the
above
same breath as
Calvert-Lewin?
Ronaldo is disgraceful, man.
You
I
bring
can't.
him above Calvert-Lewin?
Right, so yeah, that's like Calvert-Lewin or Antonio. Where do you go with that?
The-
You have a player like inconsistent, but Antonio is also inconsistent. But both are deadly in front of goal.
Yeah, they're
I
both
say
very good for me.
average.
They're both very good for me. You cannot put Antonio on
You
the
say-
same tier list
did you
as
say
Cristiano
average?
Ronaldo.
above average?
Above,
So decent.
Decent, yeah.
Nah, minimum.
I wouldn't
You know
put
what?
him-
Minimum, I'll drop to very good. I'll drop minimum.
Very good.
I'm not
I
going
see him as very good.
I'm not going decent.
But below.
I'm not
Okay.
going decent. I'm not going decent.
Next up, Patrick Bamford.
I love Patrick Bamford, bro.
He's been injured for a
Bro,
large
there's
part
something
of
with
the
that
season.
player that's I love it.
He's been injured.
But
a lot.
he's decent though. As much as I love him, he's
You
decent.
see, the problem is when it comes to injuries, when they come back, you could see that because of the injury, they're not top class. They're not like how they used to be. For example, Van Dijk. Van Dijk before injury, top tier defender, and then came back. He's not as good as he used. He's still a good defender,
Yeah.
but there's
Yeah.
this like mistakes he keeps on doing, small mistakes. You know,
Okay.
like injuries. Is
I mean,
worse.
this is the same Patrick Bamford that was like one spot away from getting into Euro squad.
No, there's no
Like-
denying he's a good player. Like, as
I-
you said with Ronaldo, if you're talking about this season, he played the first couple games and then he got like a bad injury. I don't think he's even come back yet. I'm not sure about that.
So you're going.
I'm gonna go decent because I don't think he's an average
Yeah,
player.
that's what you said.
Decent?
But
Okay, so now for the next few players, we need to go rapid quick. So I'm gonna need you to just scream the
Yeah.
level. Okay? It's a buzzer round. Pookie.
he's not in. Wait, is he?
Pookie, Timo
Oh yeah, they are.
Pookie.
Nah, they go up and down every year. I forgot. Average.
No, dead lost.
Dead
No,
lost?
Yeah, no. The only time Pookie was ever good was that first season in August where he won Player of the Month.
First-
After that, I haven't heard of him ever since.
So
bro.
need to see more?
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
need
Yeah.
Okay. Next, Welbeck.
Tiny Welbeck.
Back in the days, maybe it's different, but now it's
need to
Average?
Average.
Average. Yeah.
Average above Benteke?
No, you could.
Or
no,
below?
below Benteke.
Nah, for me, they're both on the same level. So
Yeah, but Benteke plays more.
Richarlison.
Richarlison? Oh.
he infuriates me. He's so inconsistent. It annoys me when I'm watching him.
Oh,
He only
and then
showed
down.
up against United, bro.
And
That
then
annoys
down.
me.
It just against, as like I usually say, it's always they come against amazing teams, high,
You
strong.
only come against United, bro. I don't know.
True, United, and
It's
then,
always United.
and then you see them teams where they just come against strong teams, they play amazing, and then they go against small teams, and then they either draw or like lose.
That's not
So-
necessarily true.
Wait,
Yeah,
so we
it's
put
some teams that do
Calvert-Lewin.
that.
We put Calvert-Lewin on very good.
Yes. And then
Um,
Antonio.
I think he's below Calvert-Lewin.
I think same.
I think decent.
For me, he's very good. I mean, as much as he annoys me how inconsistent he is, he's still a very good footballer.
But
Okay.
He's got a
You-
bicycle
you
against
always
Norwich.
But are you
want-
putting him on
you
the same
always
level
want-
as Calvert-Lewin?
If you're talking about the season, then yeah. No, you guys did that with Ronaldo.
Oh, man, man's coming.
You guys talk about this season.
Okay, next, Timo Werner. Quick.
This
What
is
do
a
you
player
say?
I
First thoughts.
love this player, but I'm gonna have to say average.
Decent.
Average, decent? What do you say?
Decent. Yeah.
Okay. Next, Ivan Toney.
My guy, Ivan Toney, yeah. My guy, met this guy, amazing, yeah, I love him.
So he's top tier, yeah?
yeah, I'd say he's been
Good.
decent. I'd say he's been
Decent?
decent.
No, very good.
Decent.
Decent.
Okay.
Decent.
Let's see, what do we have?
If you go last season, Ivan Toney's top tier.
Lacazette.
Lacazette.
No.
No, he hasn't.
He's average. He's also the definition of average.
He's average.
He's
yeah.
so average.
Yeah.
Above
but-
Welbeck?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Above Benteke?
Yeah.
100%.
I think if we do this maybe at the end of the season, seeing how Arsenal are right now, I think Lacazette could go up to very good.
Yeah.
Seeing how Arsenal need a striker, Lacazette is doing.
Yeah, but that's what it's been for the
But
last
at
couple
this-
of weeks, and he's been.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Now let's do a couple more. Ollie Watkins. Quick.
Need to see more from him. No, I'm not saying he's a bad player. He has
Yeah.
the potential, but for me, I want to see more from him.
Well,
I'd
okay.
go average. That's fine.
That's a bit harsh.
You said need to see.
Yeah, I know, but he's a good player, but I want to see more of him because he hasn't done.
Need to see more is below average.
Yeah, on
but
the
we're
tier,
saying
but
he
as
could
the- he could be very well. I'm very good. But I'm
You
saying-
want to see more?
I want to see more of him. That's
Okay.
just what, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Next, we have Rodrigo.
The Leeds one.
Leeds one.
Oh, need to see more.
Nah, he plays
No,
more in
he plays.
midfield now. but I'll put him at decent. Yeah, I like him.
Okay.
Are you putting him above Ollie Watkins?
I'm putting him at okay.
Vardy, elite. He's an elite striker.
Okay, so he's elite,
Oh.
but Ronaldo's not elite.
Vardy has
Ronaldo's
scored
on
more
the same
goals than Ronaldo, the CEO.
Ah, nah, man.
What? I mean, okay, if we're going on striking and goals, I mean, I'm putting him on the same level as
I
Ronaldo.
cannot believe this. This is the.
I'm putting him on the. Okay, we can push him along the elite scale, but he is an elite striker.
He is,
You cannot-
but
he
he's
is,
not
but he's not on the
as
same level as
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
He's
Bro,
not,
shut up, you
he's
said
not-
elite as well.
I know, Ronaldo's elite this season overall.
No.
No one like except for
See,
Messi.
I'm gonna say, yeah, Fred, I'm looking out for you, yeah? You want a Leicester prop? I'm giving you her. Vardy is an elite player for me.
Nah,
I'm not putting-
I put him
I'm-
under elite.
No,
Okay,
very
No, he's an elite, but Ronaldo should be in top tier.
Alright,
No.
let's do 3 more. Let's do 3 more. Quick, Harry Kane.
Oh,
yeah.
He's elite for me. I mean, he started off the season very slow, but he.
Hold on.
He's
No.
Bro, you can't. This guy won the Golden Boot and the
Very
most
good.
assists last
Very
season.
good.
So
Very
you're
good.
telling me you're putting Vardy below Harry Kane?
No, I said I put Vardy at elite, but I put Ronaldo at top tier.
Oh, okay.
So-
I mean, he's Vardy elite. That's all I wanted.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jimenez.
To be honest, it's bad.
Very
He just
good.
came back from injury, but
very good.
I'd put him at decent.
Decent.
Okay.
Decent.
Okay, decent. Yeah.
Diego Jota.
Oh, elite.
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 Elite? Okay.
He's guys.
Below
He
Vardy.
saves that so many times.
No,
No,
it's
no,
Ronaldo.
no,
If you're talking based on this season, then I'd put him in top tier. He's been
Top
very
tier.
good.
He's been extremely good.
Top
I
tier?
might
Yeah,
We have a first top tier then.
I can't believe that. It's not fair. Ronaldo should be up there.
And with that, we're done with our tier list.
Hey, come on.
Okay. Can't believe we
I'm
just
not
did
clapping
that.
that.
So we're gonna put Rashford on that list.
No, Rashford, he's so good. He's not even on the list. So it's fine.
I need to see more from him anyway.
Okay. Anyway, so make sure you look at Spotify, Anchor, and YouTube to see our episodes. Make sure you have our notifications turned on so you know when we're uploading. And with that, we're done with our first episode back in the studio. And this has been the Tennis Podcast signing off.